So Elizabeth Warren's out of the race. Smoke's starting to clear. And I could tell that she's not very happy about it. She's pretty pissed. She expected more of the country. I don't know why, but she did. So, like, in America, anyone can run for president, but not anyone can win, and we know this. Believe me, we know it. Believe me, we know it. We know it. It took a long time to get Barack Obama, or to get a Barack Obama. He had to be very special. He had to be a Harvard law professor with a white mom and white grandparents and didn't know his African daddy who left the country. And a state senator. And gave an amazing speech at the DNC conference back in 2004. And worked in civil rights. And, you know, activists. And, there's a bunch of ands. Married to another lawyer wife and all these ands. And had to give a great speech. And had to be extreme. Did I mention how special he was? So, yeah, I'm very familiar with that. Well, Elizabeth Warren did an interview recently with Rachel Maddow where they discussed her dropping out of the race. And some things were said, Johnson, that need to be talked about. Here goes a clip.
That is usually grounds for mutual trust, or at least mutual understanding when you've had a long relationship like that.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I wanted to ask you about that relationship with Senator Sanders is something that I talked to him about last night when I was in Vermont, and that is that there have been some really untoward attacks by Senator Sanders' supporters, not by him himself, against you. Particularly online. His supporters have called you a snake. They used this snake emoji for you. They've called you a traitor. They tried to organize somebody to primary you, to force you out of your Senate seat here in Massachusetts. And the senator said last night, he responded, he said, I condemned that. And he's distancing himself from what his supporters have done. But I wanted to ask if that rose to your level of consciousness, if you were aware of that was going on, if you have any reaction to that or to his comments about it last night.
You know, it's not just about me. I think there's a real problem with this online bullying and sort of organized nastiness. And I'm not just talking about who said mean things. I'm talking about some really ugly stuff that went on. You know, out in Nevada, when the Unite Here had put out an analysis of the different candidates and their views on healthcare and other issues. And some of the Bernie supporters online took exception to it. And they didn't just take exceptions like, we disagree, and, you know, outrageous way to do this, which anybody can do. That's fine. And you can be clever and you can find clever ways to be kind of mean sometimes. Okay, I get that part too. But they actually published the phone numbers and home addresses of the two women, the executive director, the communications director, women of color, immigrant women, and really put them in fear for their families. And these are not, you know, these are tough women. Tough women who've run labor organizing campaigns and really earned their jobs in their union, I mean, the hard way. And yet said for the first time, because of this onslaught of online threats, that they felt really under attack. And that wasn't the first time it happened. Working Families Party, two women there, women of color, who were attacked right after they endorsed me. And I think this fundamental question about what goes on online and where those lines are and how much each of us, and I want to say this for all of the candidates back when there were lots of us, we are responsible for the people who claim to be our supporters and do really threatening, ugly, dangerous things for other
And it's a particular problem with Sanders' supporters.
It is. I mean, and it just is. It's just a factual question, and it is, and that's something I think that.
Have you ever talked with Senator Sanders about that?
I have.
What was that conversation like?
It was short. But yeah, we've talked about it. But I think it's a real problem.
Does he not share your view that he's responsible for the behavior of supporters?
You know, I shouldn't speak for him. It's something he should speak for himself on. But I do think it's something that we need to reckon with in our political discourse in particular, because this is what politics is about, is to get out and put your ideas out there. People choose sides, people vote, people say, I'm holding a sign for her, I'm holding a sign for him. That is part of what we do. But what underlies that is a fundamental human decency and respect for each other. An understanding that nobody tries to put somebody's family at risk or somebody personally at risk because they disagree with you on the politics of it, because they see the policy different, because they don't support your candidate and they support some other candidate. No. And if we follow that same kind of politics of division that Donald Trump follows, that notion of, he draws strength from tearing people apart, from demonizing people, from saying, oh, those are bad people, and that's kind of how they draw their strength. It's not who I want to be as a Democrat. It's not who I want to be as an American.
Before I get started on this, because it's going to be a doozy, I want to put this in a little bit of context by stating for the record that the interview that Elizabeth Warren had with Rachel Maddow did not focus on this primarily. There was 25 minutes or 20 minutes at least of discussion about matters that had nothing to do with snakes, emojis, name-calling, or anything of that nature. Nothing to do with Bernie supporters at all. In fact, the majority, like that 20 minutes that began this interview, was about women being in politics and why she dropped out, and it had to do more with the possibility of a woman being president and the hopes and dreams of women who feel that they're shut out from that opportunity and how that feels. So I think when we're having this conversation, because I want to keep it 100, I want to make sure we're being fair, and I'm being fair, right? It wasn't just about this. Now, a lot of people have covered this part, but let's be fair and say there's other stuff that was discussed. This was not the focus. I'm choosing to focus on it now, but in the context, she talked about other issues as well. Okay, so all right, good enough, fair enough. Is that above board? That's more than what they do for us ever. Okay, which is put it in context and say, well, there's more to the conversation than just what I'm going to focus on. Now, let me say what I agree with. Okay, doxing is wrong. Doxing is wrong. You shouldn't dox people. No one condones putting out people's address. People are crazy. You can't put out people's addresses. What's wrong with who's doing that? Who's putting out people's addresses online? Do you know anybody who's putting out addresses online? I thought that was against the law to put out people's addresses. That's like putting a hit on someone. People are crazy. You can't do that shit. So if Elizabeth Warren mentions that, I just want to point it out that no one condones that. And that's something definitely that Elizabeth Warren and anybody else could gripe about. And I feel that they're totally in their rights. That's not a gripe, that's a grievance. And that's totally something that should be, we need to put an end to. And I know for a fact, like I don't speak for anybody in the campaign, but I can't imagine anyone condoning that, okay? I can't imagine it, okay? So now, back to to the stuff I disagree with her about. Man, nobody give a damn about snake emojis, yo. No one cares if people put out emojis about you. What do you think this is? Oh, it's hurtful. They called me a snake. Why, Elizabeth, why did they call you a snake? I'm just asking. Why? Rachel, why did people call her a snake? Because they thought she had some snake-like tendencies, right? Yeah, because it appeared to them that she was being a backstabber. So what you're watching is the reality TV-ification of our politics. Yeah, when you watch a reality TV show or you watch somebody up there and you're watching and they're doing stuff, you're like, you can't trust her. She's phony. She's a fake. She's a snake. You know, or you're watching, you're going, oh man, this guy's a bum, or he's a bad guy, or you know, he's not a good person, he's not a good pick for her. Why is she with this guy? He's a loser. He's not a man. He's not a good guy. He's not a, so that's what you're watching. That's what we're experiencing. And it's happening not just to you, Elizabeth. It's happening to everything in the world. It's being looked at this way. Because people now get to interact with it. And the way that they do these debates lends themselves for people reacting the way they react when you get to respond in 30 seconds or less. 30 seconds or less. We're trying to decide a president, and you get a minute to answer a question and a 30-second response to a rebuttal or some crazy, it's not even about substance. All they're getting is surface information about you, Elizabeth. And they're designing it that way. The DNC can decide however they want their debates to be structured. It could be elaborate. It could be thoughtful. It could be detailed. It could be less people on the stage at one time. We can really get into nuts and crannies, the nooks and crannies, like a Snickers bar. The nooks and crannies of policy and what people really stand for. But the DNC chooses not to. And it's not just the DNC. I don't think the RNC does a better job at all. Okay? But they did this to you. Not just to you, though, Elizabeth. It's to everyone. We only get surface interaction, surface relation to any candidate due to the way that the debates are structured, due to the ads that run, that bash one another, due to the whole nature of our politics, the way it's run this way on purpose. And then when people react based on the way that the process is vetted out, is meted out, now you blame people. So I think that's wrong as well. I think it's short-sighted. And for a smart person, you have to know that this is not optimal the way they do these debates. It's not optimal the way they parrot you out. They bring you guys out for a couple seconds, and then they just throw raw meat at the crowd. And then they plant people in the audience. It's not a good process. She talks about online bullying. No one here agrees with online bullying, but let's define what online bullying is. If you are in this system where people see you on a stage, you may talk for 10 minutes. You realize you were on a show that was an hour and a half long, and you only had a chance to speak for 10 minutes. A lot of people can misunderstand you in 10 minutes. And they have a response. Is it online bullying to call you a snake? Or is it online bullying to post an emoji? Is that really online bullying? I thought online bullying was, we're going to come get you. I thought online bullying is where, like, I'm from a different age, and so are you, Elizabeth Warren, where people really bullied you. Like you couldn't walk home. People took your lunch money. Or people punched you in the mouth. Not figuratively, not with emojis, with real fist. Sometimes they use bats. Sometimes people got stabbed. Sometimes people got shot. Like real stuff happened. People got jumped by 3 and 4 guys. You ever been jumped? I've been jumped. Not fun. Like in real life, not this shit you're talking about. Online bullying. And I'm not saying online bullying isn't a thing and people don't get harassed. But if you are a public person who's running for the office of the highest office in the land, you're not expecting people to have a strong opinion about you. You're not expecting. Is it online bullying, or is it sort of like goes with the territory? I gotta imagine it goes with the territory. I got treated worse, wearing some high waters in school one time. I mean, you seem to be okay to me. You seem to be fine. But okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're scarred for life because of an emoji. Okay. Very rich lady doing very well in the Senate has a hard time. Okay, I get it. Which brings me to another point I want to make. These people live in a bubble. When I say these people, I mean Rachel Maddow and Elizabeth Warren. Do you realize that in the real world, there are places you can't go wearing certain colors? I remember I went to California, I went to California. I did a segment on the Dr. Phil show, and I wore a New York Yankee hat. Look, if you ever go to L.A., don't wear a New York Yankee hat. Someone like stopped me on the train, was like, I know you're not gonna wear that hat. You want to make it to the hotel, or you want to die. Real talk. There are things you can't. So this is the real world we live in. There are sports teams. If you wear the wrong sports memorabilia, you can get your ass kicked. You wear the wrong color, you can get your ass kicked. And I don't just mean someone running up to you and painting a picture and sticking it in your face and calling you an emoji, a snake emoji. I'm talking about literally getting beat up or shot. Okay? Or something broken, like an arm or leg or your skull. These things really happen. Just when I was in South Carolina, me and my brother were there. I had on a hat, and he was like, I wonder how they feel about their sports teams here. I was like, you know what, you're right. Let me take off this hat, this sports team hat, because I don't want no problems. And I don't know how hard they ride for their sports teams in South Carolina. So in the real world, people deal with this all the time. Real people deal with much worse. And we're not even throwing in politics, which I'll get to later. Also, you may not know this, Elizabeth Warren, but if you say, imagine a country or world where you can't say something bad about a musician. Imagine saying something bad about a musician may get you bullied online or harassed or chased offline. Oh, yeah, that happens all the time. Go say something bad enough about Beyonce or Ariana Grande or any popular artist, and if you rise to the level of attention, you will get a lot of negative attention that may send you offline. This happens to countless people, okay? So, it's not just you, Elizabeth. It's the entire country. It's not just Bernie supporters. It's not just Bernie bros, white guys who live in their basement with their parents and they don't move out, whatever the hell you're paying us into, okay? But it's everything, every facet of life is online, and there are people from all over online. Then there's trolling, where people don't even feel the way they say they feel. They do it just to make you feel stupid, or they do it to piss you off, or they do it to get a reaction out of you. And that's called trolling. They don't even mean what they're doing, and you don't even know who those people are. And people have multiple troll accounts. And then we got bots, and we got AI, and we got all these things. We don't even know what you're dealing with. And you are actually, both of you, are wasting time talking about something that you can't control, that you can never, you couldn't ask Beyonce to pull her fans off of someone. All she could say is, hey guys, don't beat up on the girl. And that would be it. What could she do? Go to people's houses to try to stop them because they said the latest Beyonce album sucked and people got offended? Or Ariana Grande, they say she couldn't dance well and then the people came for her and they dragged her across the internet? Figuratively, like it's ridiculous for you and Rachel Maddow to make this a thing. It's not a thing. It's stupid. There are rappers, local rappers dying right now who have died in the last couple months just because they posted something on Instagram. Literal people who got shot to death because they posted money or they accidentally posted an address or something or they made a comment or they made a rap or something or they dissed someone and they're literally getting shot in the face. Do you understand? But meanwhile, we have you who want to be our president who can't deal with a snake emoji. And then you're going to tell me, I guess you want to tell me how it's our fault. I just told you there are young black men being killed right now for songs, verses, but you know that. You don't give a shit. I don't hear you complaining about the Instagram deaths. Not a problem with you. You definitely wouldn't spend 3 minutes or 5 minutes out of a 30-minute interview with the former top-tier presidential candidate to discuss Little Ray Ray getting shot in the face for making a comment about someone else on a rap song. But that is life and death, and what you dealt with, excuse me for not being overly sensitive, but what you're dealing with is a little less. We would agree, right? That what you're talking about with the working families Guy had to deal with is a little less than Ray Ray, who's no longer with us, right? Okay, Just checking because, I mean, I guess we're all supposed to be so upset and hate Bernie Sanders so much because Banana Peel 1763 said that Elizabeth Warren is a snake. Oh, no! All right. And here goes the last point. Okay, here's the last point I want to make before we go to phone calls. Why doesn't Liz see that these people's problems are real? Why doesn't Elizabeth Warren or Rachel Maddow see that the people, if we're going to say that these are real people, if we're going to say these people are not bots, they're not trolling, they mean what they're posting, they're pissed off, are we going to ask ourselves why these people are so upset? Shouldn't you be in touch with the reality that to some people, politics is not just about having a different position? That to some people, their circumstances are so dire, their situations are so dire, that it really matters who becomes president. I know to you it's just a philosophical conversation about ideas. But to some people, because remember, half of America doesn't vote, okay? So half the people would never post an emoji about you. They don't even know who you are. They don't care who you are. They don't watch debates, and they don't vote. Don't vote, okay? So there's a lot of people, but of the people that do vote, that there will be some people who are really invested in it because they need fundamental change, real change, not bullshit change, real change because the job left, or their parents are sick, or there's something real in their lives. They have a child, as you pointed out in this very interview. In this very interview, guys, she talks about some people she met on the campaign trail. A mother she met with a beautiful child who was exuberant and full of energy, and then the mother pulls her to the side and says, please work on the health care. She's a beautiful child, but she has brain cancer. I got a feeling that that mom may be a little bit passionate online. Just a little bit. Why do you live in such a bubble that you don't understand that some people have real concerns? Real concerns, real issues, real things going on in their lives. It's not a philosophical conversation. It's not bantering back and forth. We'll have a little fun. You know, this isn't the Dead Poets Society. Okay, this is real shit. This isn't Good Will Hunting, an episode of Good Will Hunting, and we want to see who's smartest. This is about real people's lives. This is about really their survival. This is about not just them, their children's lives. This is about the environment, children's lives, people's rights, constitutional and otherwise, and civil. We're talking about freedom and the difference between jail and incarceration and freedom. Righting wrongs of the past. We're talking about real shit, reparations. We're talking about a whole host of things. We're talking about countries being bombed into oblivion. And you don't understand why people might be a little upset and they don't really want to hear you talk about civility online on Facebook when you could just delete the fucking app. I mean, if it got to you that badly and you're so detached from the real struggle, the real pain and grievances of the people that you will go on a show and complain about the pain people are feeling, but you're not complaining that they have the pain or the anger or the frustration. You're complaining how that manifests and how it impacts you. And all I'm saying is, if you truly are a leader, you should lead. You should lead with compassion, not just for those who agree with you. And I notice you don't have anything negative to say about people who were kissing your ass online. You know, for every horrible comment you received, I know you received 100 of people saying how amazing you were, how beautiful you were, how and smart you are, how intelligent you are. Notice that you do not comment on all of the great comments that you've received from people you don't know, that you really haven't earned. What have you done that they should be flowing you with praise? You haven't run the presidency. You haven't restored rights to people. You haven't cleaned up the water or cleaned up the air or emptied out the prisons. You haven't done anything. And there were people, thousands and thousands, that I'm sure of, who said beautiful, nice, glowing praises to you. And you don't even balance that with the negative. You just look at the negative and say, oh, look how horrible these people are. And you just take all of this for granted. What about all the good stuff, Elizabeth? What about all the love? And you too, Rachel. What about all the love and all the money and all the accolades and all the praise and all the people treating you like royalty because you get on TV and run your damn mouth as if that makes you somehow important? You don't complain about the fame when it works for you. You don't complain about it when you get to live an exalted life, a life that's more luxurious than 99% of the rest of the world. You don't have a bad mumbling word to say about 5-star restaurants, getting flown around in a private jet, not having to worry about if you can keep the lights on or if the car's going down or being able to afford that $400 emergency. No complaints, but let there be somebody who calls you a greaseball online. All of a sudden, we need to cancel Christmas and shut down the internet because somebody posted a meme about you. So it's not just about policy differences. It's about inequities in our communities, inequities in our society that people deal with. And if you ask me, you're lucky. You're lucky, we're lucky. We are fortunate in this country. We are fortunate that we have the internet, and we're fortunate that it has not deteriorated because, honestly, it should be worse than it is. We are fortunate that there aren't riots in the street every day for what the 1% is doing to the rest of us. We are fortunate that they aren't emptying the Congress right now due to the lack of trust and corruption in our politics. We are fortunate. You are fortunate that they are burning down this country. There are people living in the streets with their entire families living in tents. And you're talking about emojis. Entire families. You go on your day. I got to keep hearing about your selfie tour. What did you learn? Did you learn nothing? Obviously, you didn't learn enough not to look past yourself. You're still looking at your damn self about how you feel. What about all the people that you met online or that you met offline? What if some of those people who you met who had horrible stories or touching stories or sad stories or stories of severe adversity in their personal lives? What if some of those people have negative things to say about Bernie Sanders? I wonder if you'd see it the same way. Or would you have compassion for what those people are going through? I think you would, Elizabeth, because those are your supporters. So if your supporters are passionate and directing their anger and frustration at Bernie or Biden or Trump, that's probably fine with you because you act like those people don't exist. What about all those people in those selfie lines? You don't think any of them will have anything negative to say to Bernie Sanders? Nothing? They say nothing under videos with Bernie? They say nothing under live streams? I mean, they support you and they saw you as the way out that was going to fix the problems. You, the first, like you, have an opportunity to become the first female president, and that being dashed by these two old white guys, both slightly older than you. You don't think that any of your supporters have said untoward things about them online? Or are we going to pretend that the presence of a uterus makes one a better person? It's all bullshit and you know it. And if it's not, you are completely one-sided and you're unfair. And in my opinion, that makes you unfit to lead. We're going to phone lines right after this. Phone numbers posted above, and I'll see you in a few moments. If you want political commentary that is real, insightful, honest, true, Bernie, progressive, you need to come to my channel today, subscribe, and you will get that. I'm Tim Black. I support you. I got your back. We are the voice of the people. Feel the burn. See you there. Johnson. Popular demand, Johnson is here. I have new Johnson designs in my shop. If you want to pick them up, check them out. They are hilarious, they are revolutionary, and they're all Johnson. You're going to love them, man. Check them out. Both parties suck, Johnson. It's one of my favorites. Independent media only, Johnson. Keep it real. We are all Johnson. We are. We're one big community, guys. Go check it out. Independent media only. Johnson's in the house. Both parties suck, Johnson. We are here. They got a special going on right now. Free shipping. Get it today. Wolfpack. If you want yourself your own personal No Joe button, all you got to do is send me your address. Send it to Tip at tipliketv.com, and I'll send you a No Joe button for free. Because no Joe. No Joe.